Hi, it's Anne. Thanks for stopping by. So do you ever get any of those crafty ideas in the middle of the night and you get so excited about it you can hardly wait to get up the next day? That was my experience last night. I am still here with my morning coffee, and we're going to be making some faux playing cards. It seems kind of silly because playing cards are available in such abundance that there hardly seems to be any reason to make faux playing cards. But sometimes maybe we want a different size. Maybe we want the playing card look with a different kind of background. Maybe we don't want that kind of slick surface that's on a playing card. Let's just give it a go. I decided I wanted to make some into journal cards using book page as a background. I thought the simplest one might be to start out with an A, and let's just kind of get started. I'll show you what was going through my mind at 2 in the morning and 3 in the morning and 4 in the morning. I hope it lives up to, I hope it's worth the sleep that I lost thinking about it. Before I stamp, I think I'm going to cut this down to the size that I think I want. And I think I'm going to just make a double layer of book page and then put a backing on it. So I'm working with what the faux card is going to be. As I do this, I'll tell you, I know, I mean, don't think that I had, some sort of, brilliant creative insight here, because I actually, the idea first came to me when we were watching, I've been talking a lot about cooking shows lately. We were watching the Great British Bake Off, Great British Baking Show here in the US, but Great British Bake Off, GBBO, as it's known in the UK. Anyway, we were catching up on some of those episodes last night, as we often do. Sunday night is a good night for us to watch GBBO. And I'm just putting a little piece of packing paper on the back of the stack, and then I'll cut these layers apart, or cut them down to the size that I want for my card. It was Biscuit Week, which for us in the United States, that means cookies. But it was fun to watch them do these incredible creations for their biscuits. And there was one baker who they were making, I think it was like little mementos or something like that. I think I'm going to make this card be pretty much the size of this text block. How will that be proportionately? Let's just cut it down and we'll see if the proportions look right. I should tell you too, I took a piece of this book page and I just smeared a little bit of gesso in it. Let me set this aside, because I just want to show you how I did that. It's very, very easy, but in case you don't have gesso around or you're not used to this technique, I usually, when I'm just going to do one page or two, I take my messy gesso bottle on my messy old hotel key and just apply a little bit there. And then I just smooth it on like that and set it aside to dry. I don't care about it getting on there smoothly or evenly. It just tamps back the intensity of that text. I set this aside again, and this was the one bit of this that I did ahead, was getting that gesso on. Anyway, this baker was a card player and was making these little cookies shaped like different sorts of mementos. I think they were to go into a little pretend time capsule that was also made out of cookies or biscuit dough. And anyway, she had this biscuit that looked like a playing card, and it was cute. And I thought, oh, I should make a journaling card that's like a faux biscuit. Not a faux biscuit, a faux playing card. I might not have gotten this backing paper all the way down here, so I might have to do a little bit of trimming. Oh, okay. I surprised myself there. There we go. Anyway, it just occurred to me it might really be fun to make journaling cards that looked like playing cards. I was going through how I might do it, and maybe I just had too much coffee during the day. I did have, now that I think about it, I did have a piece of leftover chocolate cake last night, just a small piece, but I wanted a small piece. Maybe I bet there was caffeine in that chocolate cake. I bet that's what did it. Proportionally, how does this look? I think I'm going to cut off just a little bit more off the top and see. I'm not gonna calculate the aspect ratio or anything, but I can kind of eyeball it and see if it looks like a reasonable replication of playing card proportions. Yep, I'm gonna go with this. This is going to be fine. Oh, there's the Joker. I'm going to bring in, just as a guide, I'm going to bring in the A, because this should be about the simplest one to do. And do I have an A? Yes, I have an A in these little stamp letters, but you could write them in. You could easily cut letters out of a magazine to affix there. That would be nice too. I usually do this last, but I'm thinking that I want to round the corners just to kind of get myself in the playing card mode, because there we go. That's just looking right to me. It's usually a finishing touch, but it's going to be a beginning touch this time. Anyway, I had some leftover birthday cake. Dan got me a beautiful chocolate birthday cake that I have. The kids were over, everybody had cake. I took pieces out to the neighbors. I had some friends over for knitting yesterday afternoon, and we had leftover chocolate cake. There was 2 little pieces that were left. And as we were watching GBBO last night, Dan and I said, oh, let's finish up that cake. Could have been the caffeine in that kept me awake. But anyway, I'm going to use my Stays On red ink, just because, since this is gesso, I'm not really certain what will stamp on there very well. But I'm going to put the A, and I'm just using this as a guide, because if I had to stop to think, I would have thought, I knew that the A's and the symbols would be in the corners, but how they were oriented, I might not have been very certain about. Let me see how this is going to stamp. Yeah, that's going to be okay. There we go. So we're going to go with an A in the corner here. And I don't mind that there's a little bit of shadowing around there. That's what hand stamping does. There's the A there. And I've got a couple of heart stamps. There's one. There's another one. I think I'm going to go with this smaller one. And here we go. I can tell I must have had a little brown ink or something on that was left on that A, because it's combined with this Stays On to come out a little bit darker, but I really am fine with that. Kind of wish I had a bigger heart to go in the middle. Let me look. I think I might have one over here. They're usually not too far away. Nope, none that I can find right away. So I'm just going to go with this slightly larger heart that's in this. Oh, this one's bigger. Yeah, I'd like it if it was a little bit bigger, but I think that might be fine. Pull out an acrylic block. Anyway, I'm very happy to say that that chocolate cake is now gone. It was good, but man, I just can't eat that stuff like I used to, which is a good thing, I guess. It just doesn't even taste as good when I'm done as it may have at one time. A little bit of glue stick to stick that onto my acrylic block because this is an old polymer stamp and might not be quite as sticky as it once was. Yeah, this really would be better if it was larger. That's okay though. There's my faux postage stamp. Not a lot of detail to it, but what postage stamp. And I think I need, talking about caffeine, I need some more this morning. There's my faux playing card. And yeah, I think this might be worth doing some more on. Let's get this tucked away so the StazOn doesn't dry out. Would it be fun to kind of dress this up like we do with our altered playing cards and maybe put a piece of napkin on it? Let's try that. I'm gonna try the inking, and I do want to use the grungy, semi-grungy style with the vintage photo. That'll give me a little bit more of a look. Oh, and I just put my thumb on there. All right, now I really am going to have to do some more embellishment on there to cover up my smears. That's a good note to self, to don't be sticking your thumb in that StazOn before it has a chance to dry on that gessoed surface. Yeah, I didn't ruin it. I did mar it, but I did not ruin it. Maybe if I pull... I think that might be kind of nice, but I am going to let that dry a little bit more before I put glue on it, because I might smear that ink even more. Do I want to get that bird in there? Oh, why not? Here's my water brush, and I'm just going to paint on this napkin along where I wish to tear it. I just squeeze water through the barrel. And because napkins are notoriously hard to tear, they become much easier to tear. You just pull it apart after that little bead of water is on there. You could just use any kind of a small paintbrush. And that becomes very easy to do. I always save the scraps. And I'll pull those two backing layers on. Some crafters who are much more clever than I save these, but that just isn't something I do. I think this is going to be nice on here. I think I'm going to like the look of that. I'm going to get that positioned so that that center heart will show through that translucent napkin. And this will show through down here. But I am going to wait because I don't want to put the glue on it right away. Let's do a different one. Clean this up because, yeah, I really don't like how that StazOn didn't dry very quickly. I just need to respect the ink a little bit more. Let's go ahead and cut this. Put these two together, and we'll cut another playing card base. Oh, you know what? Several of you have asked, because I told you I was going to be doing a flea market. a neighborhood flea market to sell some of my journals. It went really, really well. I had a wonderful time. And it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon. People were in from out of state. They were in Portland, just, from all over the city, just enjoying a beautiful day. It was a lovely, lovely day here in Portland and continues to be so. But it took place at a little neighborhood brewery where they make artisanal beer, and it was just such a nice setting. They had set up in the area, the kind of beer garden area around the brewery. They'd set up canopies, so we had nice shade, it was fairly warm, but it, wasn't so warm that it was unpleasant. It was really nice in the shade. And it was just 4 hours. I was there from 1 to 5. And there was people just kind of, selling like jumble sale things, but there was people that had like old vintage albums, phonograph albums. There were, people selling vintage clothing. There was people just doing jumble sale things, old appliances and coffee pots and things like that. But I happened to be placed where they had my table assigned. There was a number of makers of handmade goods too, which I was happy to see. There was quite a few of us. I was next to the most delightful young crafter, and she has an Etsy shop. Her name was Vanessa. I'm going to link her her Etsy shop below because I got her card. And she was so, so nice. Does this look a little tall? A little bit. Cut off this bottom line just to bring that up a little bit more. She too was a paper crafter, and we were so delighted that we were two paper crafters who were going to be together all afternoon. She also made journals, but and sketchbooks. She bills her product as handmade sketchbooks. The most beautiful Coptic stitch in binding her sketchbooks. I bought one. It's just so pretty. And her name is Vanessa. She is a school librarian in suburban Portland, lives in Portland. She just was absolutely lovely. And we had so much fun talking about paper crafts and how we organized our stuff. She sold a lot of bookmarks. We were both really, really busy at our tables, just selling a lot of product, but both of us just really, mostly enjoying having fun, enjoying talking to people about paper crafts. And she had some junk journals that she had made too. She just does beautiful selection of papers. And anyway, I am enjoying her Etsy shop already, and I will link it so you can enjoy it too. Please, if you'd like to support a local artist, please go show Vanessa some love. She was, I just enjoyed being around her so much. And, we were talking about more than paper crafts. We were talking about books and classics and, children's reading and things like that. There's an event here in Oregon. There may be something similar in your area too that they have each year called Oregon Battle of the Books, or OBOB. And my Barney, now that he's in 3rd grade, is finally old enough to join an OBOB team. And he's a big reader, and he's so excited, so excited to be part of OBOB this year. And they read, prescribed books. And there's some, contemporary books. And I guess there's probably a graphic novel or two in there. But there's some classics as well. And as a librarian, I was talking to Vanessa about some of those selections. And we just had a good time. Anyway, everything went great at the flea market. It was a lovely day. Everybody was enjoying being out and about in our beautiful city that we love. And we just had, everybody there had a really great time. What should we use for our second card? Let's get some more characters in there. Do you want to maybe go with a Q and maybe do a queen? What about that? Let's pull out a queen. Now she's got a box around her. I wonder if we could use something like this. I don't know size-wise how that would be, but I did pull this out of a book. Maybe I could fussy cut. She looks rather queen-like, doesn't she? Maybe I'll fussy cut her, and we'll see if she fits in there. And then I can put some little character, or little stamps around her and make her the Queen of Hearts. Yeah, it's always fun to work with playing cards. My family was always a big card playing family growing up. I'm going to probably be doing this mostly off camera. You're not missing much. I'll come in and out occasionally. It's just easier for me to hold it a little bit closer to me. My mom was an avid bridge player. I tried to learn to play bridge as an adult, mostly so, you know, maybe I could play with my mom if I was home or if she was visiting. Did not go well. I just did not enjoy playing bridge. I really tried. I was living in Dallas at the time, and there was I think it was a Saturday morning bridge club or something. There's people from the public could, you know, you could go and you paid, you know, at the time it was $5 or something. And they welcomed beginners, had sort of beginner lessons. And please don't feel sorry for me. It was not a lingering trauma. At least I don't think it was. But I was so hard, and I always made terrible mistakes, and I always felt so bad for being such a bad bridge player. And I used to go back to my car after the Saturday morning bridge session, and I would just cry in my car. Isn't that terrible? I mean, you know, I got over it. So, you know, again, please don't feel sorry for me. I don't need any sympathy for my bad bridge playing skills. But it just was enough for me to think, you know, no, and this is probably just not the game for you. Well, wouldn't you know, so I did not become a successful bridge player playing with my mom, but that's okay. We had plenty of other things to do. I'm going to, because this is black and white, I'm going to use my water brush again and add just a little bit of color here. I think I'm going to stick with the red and maybe add a little bit of blue. Oh, maybe I'll pull out the yellow. That might be kind of nice. Yeah, I'm just going to add a little bit of red. Anyway, wouldn't you know, all these many, many years later, my Barney, who's 9, and loves to play chess, and I've learned to play chess so I can play chess with my Barney. Barney has been invited to join the bridge club at his school. Bridge club, can you believe it? Isn't that cute? And Barney loves complicated games, and I just come in on the side of my stamp pad. This is mostly so I don't have to get out my watercolors, and it's just sort of a cheater's way to add color to a black and white sketch. I use this technique a lot. Sometimes it works better than others because sometimes you'll get a book page that's really porous and it starts to wick the color out the edges, but you know, that's okay. We work well with these things. And I never worry about just getting that tiny little bit of moisture in on my ink pad. It never bothers me. Anyway, so Barney is now playing bridge. And if his grandma Marjorie were still with us, she would be very proud that her little great-grandson is learning to play the fine, extremely complicated game of bridge. I don't know, it just was so complicated to me. And people, you know, that at this bridge club, you know, they'd say, well, why did you play the Jack of Spades? Because I know, you know that she has the 8 of hearts and so over here is just ready to play the 3 of clubs. So why, you know, if you'd played, you know, the blah, 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 you know, you might have laid down the, you know, Queen of Clubs later, and then I would have, you know, and I was like, how can you remember all this stuff? I don't know how people could remember all this stuff. Oh, it was terrible. So anyway, but believe me, I got over it. So no, I say no lasting trauma. Here I am, you know, 30 years later, still talking about it. But I'm glad and proud of Barney that he can play something complicated like bridge. Anyway, but Dan and I play a lot of gin rummy. That's a lot of fun. Dan plays a lot of solitaire. In fact, he might be up in the kitchen right now playing solitaire while I'm down here crafting. Let's bring in a little bit of yellow. Before I do that, though, should I give her just a touch of lipstick? Hope I don't mess up her lips here. That's just a little bit. Don't want to smear her. Okay, less is more there. She's going to show restraint. We'll put in a little bit of red still in my brush, or I guess this is sort of a reddish yellow here. That's going to bring to life this little sketch. I find a lot of really interesting sketches that I like to include as an embellishment in maybe like old collector's manuals. I have a few manuals, things that I find at estate sales or some such, of collector's manuals of like Victorian furniture, or, you know, things that have a lot of sort of bric-a-brac on them. Let's give her feathers a little bit of color up here. Then we'll be ready to see if I'm going to hope she fits on this card. If not, I guess what? I'm going to make a bigger card for her to go on, because I'm finding myself getting attached to her and letting her be our little card playing queen. There we go. All right. Is she going to fit on here? I think she will, my friends. Let's ink her around the edge very gently and let her pop on there, and then we'll do some stamping and get her looking like a queen fit for a bridge game. Yeah, so well, it's been 30 years since I've attempted to learn to play bridge, and I could give it another go, but I think I might leave that to Grandpa Dan to do. I think that I think I might just be sticking to chess, and we play lots of other card games, certainly with him too. And some of the prepared card games, the kind that come in special sets, we've been playing a lot of Skip Bow lately, which is super fun. Do you ever play Skip Bow? It's an old game. I never had it as a kid growing up, but my cousins had it, and I used to play at their house, and that was fun. All right, we're going to set our queen aside, and we're going to mimic this stamping here. And I'm using the hearts because I have heart stamps, but I have a little bit of an idea on how I might be able to make clubs. So stay tuned for that. There's our cue. And again, it would work just as great to cut a letter out of a magazine or just handwrite one. That would also be great. And let's come in with our smaller heart here. Yeah, and then I'll put a bigger one in closer to her. It's going to be mostly covered up. Maybe I want one that's smaller yet. No, I'm going to go with this. There we go. Now, fine that part of it is covered up. Yeah, I've covered up almost this. Yeah, I've covered up a lot of this Q, but I'm liking this. We get this, or not the Q, that heart there. I've covered that whole thing up. I think I'm going to come in with some bigger hearts because I kind of like how that sets up. But I think I'm going to put it here so it's going to show a little bit more. So it's not going to be positioned exactly like this. I'm going to come in with this middle-sized one, and I'm going to come right around in this area. Reserving the right to redesign things a little bit. And then I think I'm going to come in maybe over here, and we'll get part of that heart showing. Not exactly certain how that's going to look, but again, in my mind, in the middle of the night, it sounded pretty good. It looks like I got a little bit of a drip on her shoulder there, but I'm not really going to worry about that at all. How does that look? I feel like she needs a little bit more embellishment here. Let me pull out a little bit of my stamping. I don't think I want script there because I've got script behind. This is a kind of a useful stamp that I use a lot. It's sort of a corner piece. That sort of has that kind of wallpapery kind of look to it. Let's do a little bit of a test. And I think I'm going to go for the black on this one. Let's do a little test here and see what this might look like. I'm just going to go for this scrap that I think that might be okay, especially on that gessoed surface. So let's come in the corner, stamp here. Don't want it too I really don't want to cover up that heart, so I'm going to just put a little mask over there. Yes, 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 yes. I am liking that a lot. Let's get this lovely lady glued down, and we'll see how she enjoys being there. Just going to use my art glitter glue. A lot of people ask about glue. The brand is Art Glitter. There's no glitter in it. If you're looking to purchase art glitter glue, you might want to do it soon. I don't really know what the price situation is on it these days. So you might want to check that out. I get mine from May Made It in Alabama, and she does not ship during the winter because this stuff can turn into the consistency of cottage cheese if it sits on your doorstep on a cold day. So they are a warm weather shipper. I'm liking that queen. I'm liking her a lot. I feel like she's a little blank there, but I think, you know, she's looking in this direction. I kind of don't want to clutter her up too much. Now, let's go back to our ace, if I can find it, and see if that glue has dried to a point where or not glue, where the ink has dried. Yeah, that's going to be okay. So I'm just going to use my glue. I hope I don't smear it too much. And glue stick tends, for me, that's a really good way for me to adhere napkin. You've seen me do that many times before. I did smear the moisture in the glue. You can see there's a little bit of ink that came off. There we go. We'll see how that works. There we go. And I'll sneak a little bit of glue in here. And we'll let that glue just sit there and dry. I'm not certain how much I love this, because I feel like that, you know, the rest of that design doesn't really show through all that well. Might have to stop and think about that a little bit, but I really, really like this. And I think with different kinds, especially of Victorian style sketches, I think that it really might be worth my while to continue doing that. Let's play a little bit with just with designs of some other suits. I just want to pull off a little scrap here to stamp on. There's those I'm sure I can use. That one's a little bit bigger, but let's see how, if I wanted to make a spade, how that would look. And I'm going to use a heart and then just draw in a little stem on it, make the heart upside down. So we'll see if that makes a respectable spade. Oh, I'm thinking that might be okay. Yep, if you wanted to do a spade, that's a spade that could hold its head up high. Now, what about if we wanted to do clubs? Let's pull out a club for reference. And that's just 3 circles. So you could draw 3 circles. This isn't really a circle, it's just like a little homemade foam stamp that I have glued to a spool. But this might be a whimsical club. Let's see if I can put my head down here and see where I'm stamping. That might be okay. It's a little dicey. Let's see, I think I had another little circle stamp around here. I'm getting to the point where I need to tidy up my desk, so I have to put away my equipment first. I don't see oh, there it is, there it is. Here's a little stamp that I had in with some of my leafy things, and it's got swirls on it, which is not traditional, but let's just practice doing a little club here. Oh, I like that. If you were making some little faux playing cards and wanted to use clubs, you could use something swirly like that. It doesn't have to be solid. Yeah, I think I'm going to make more of these. Okay, my friends, I hope you have fun playing cards, playing with cards, and I'm going to wait until this dries, and then I'll come in and do some more edging. I might grow to like this one a little bit more, but I really like the queen. Let's have fun with these. Thanks so much, guys.